this way? Okay.
Oh my God, you guys got so quiet all of a sudden. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, Westport, and welcome to night 3 of VersoFest. Is this your first visit to VersoFest 2026 tonight? No? Awesome. Great. Well, we're in store for a really great evening tonight. I'm Bill Harmer, the Executive Director of the Westport Library. Just want to start off by saying a few words about the incredible hard work that we put into organizing this festival this year. It was actually 6 days. We started at the end of February when we brought in the band The Thing. We welcomed Susanna Hoffs as well at the beginning of the month, which was a fantastic event. And then we've just had a great run so far with Ani DeFranco on Thursday night, Wyclef Jean last night. We had about 800 people in this room last night having a great time and partying down right here in Westport. It was amazing, and we've had a really great run today. But I do want to acknowledge the hard work of the people who help organize this festival. Our staff, our incredible staff, with burning the candle at both ends. All of the volunteers, an enormous amount of volunteers that get involved in helping us produce this festival. The people in the production room over here to our right, or to my right, working to help produce a fantastic event tonight. Our Verso Advisory Board. A number of our members of our advisory board are here tonight. I want to acknowledge them for all their hard work. And of course, our own board of trustees as well. And then finally, our sponsors. This is an expensive festival to put together every year, and we couldn't do it without our sponsors and our special donors, but also all of you. So thank you for showing up. Let's keep doing this, right? Okay, so we're not done. We got one more day tomorrow. And so come back tomorrow morning. We're gonna start with a really cool AI panel on how AI is changing the music business. And that should be a lot of fun because we've got Paul Sinclair, who's the Chief Music Officer for Suno, and a number of other experts are going to be talking about how AI is being adopted, adapted, and how it's changing the business. So that, if you're interested in that, you're going to want to come to that. And then also we have the legendary producer, music producer and club owner, Peter Shapiro. Will be here live tomorrow. If you don't know Peter, you've probably been to some of his venues. The Brooklyn Bowl, an amazing venue in Brooklyn, and of course the Capitol Theater, but he's also produced some of the most iconic music festivals in the country, so he'll be joining us tomorrow as well. Okay, so as for tonight's guest, some artists just make music. They shape don't just make music. In this case, some artists do more than that. They shape entire worlds, they influence generations, they change how we hear things and how we see things. So we're incredibly fortunate to welcome an artist whose work has shaped the sound and spirit of alternative music for decades now. As a founding member of Bauhaus, yeah, I don't know, yeah, anyone? Bauhaus, you know? He helped define an entire movement. And then with Love and Rockets, another band that he formed with 3/4 of Bauhaus, he brought the sound to a broader audience to great success. And he has been releasing soul albums for decades now, all the way back to the 1980s. But his work has never stayed in one place. Those of you that have been following his career, you know that, because he's a writer, he's a poet, a collaborator, and an artist deeply connected to the literary world, someone who has always pushed beyond the boundaries of genre in music. And tonight you'll be experiencing that, full range of that, because we're gonna enjoy a reading, a performance, and also an interview after his performance. Moments like this, folks, are the reason why we do VersoFest. He's an artist whose work has stayed with me personally for a very long time, and we're overjoyed to have him with us tonight. So with that, please join me in giving a warm Westport welcome to the legendary David J.
Anger, a film. For Kenneth Anger. Interior, temple, night. Anger, voiceover. When I meet Walt Disney in hell, I'll kick him in the nuts. Curses, curses, curses. Inner sanctum, gold on black. Crowley's portrait burning on the wall. Cut to sailor's crotch, spilling stars. Lucifer, the light bringer, Lilith on her knees. The moon is full and bleeding, the sun ruptured and spent. A black car careers through the poison fog of LA. Cupid was on death row when Scorpio drove a cab. Anger, voiceover. Beauty can be a terrible thing. Dissolve, fade in. Anger, pulled by the stars, out into the night, in search of a light for his cigarette and Mickey Rooney's ghost violin. Confronted by the sailor, his white uniform the color of milk, he quickens his step. A bipolarity of repulsion and desire. Shadows loom and melt and fall away. In a clearing, the sodium flood spills orange over a row of stripped-down motorcycles. He strokes their shark fin mufflers with his eyes and gets hard. Chrome, chrome, chrome. Suddenly, a stranger offers up a flame. His hands make a chalice to cup its glow. He raises his gaze through the numinous red and is shocked to fall in love. His Dionysus in leather cap and chains has come to kill. Pan out, fade to black, cut to exterior, Echo Park, day. Anger, futile, railing against the ethnic lotus, ethnicity in Echo Park. The crack has gone undercover, and the dogs are howling their howl. Anger. What are all these Chicano fuckers doing here in the West? He brandishes the blood ink Lucifer tattoo on his septuagenarian chest and falls into the summer lake, caught up in the weeds and lilies. Two Chicano ghetto boys come to his aid. They baptize him with Evian as Bacchus cracks a bud, and Buddha laughs rolling as the petals fall and the lake heats with his blood. Dissolve, fade to black. Fade to black. Fade to black. Finn. Decide. Stars. Stars viewed through the empty windows of the chateauless chateau. The ceiling all gone, the firmament transformed, depictions of erotica, the horoscope a parody, the plough becomes a crop, Orion a cat o' nine. Classical music plays from a room directly opposite mine in the Café de Sade, where a young girl, dark-haired and thin, appears like a fleeting apparition. Bats circle the battlements, crickets chatter incessantly into the bell-torn night. A passing plane blinks its red tail lights like a slow-mo spurt of blood across the Negro flesh of night. As the radio voice speaks in French, the invisible communicating with the invisible. I picked up a stone in the grounds of the castle, was walking alone there at night, a near-perfect heart-shaped souvenir, a gift courtesy of the divine Marquis. At that moment, I heard a woman sigh, lost in the ecstatic throes of orgasm. This is Lost to a Box of Stars for Mark Linkus of Sparkle Horse. Too tender, your heart took a bullet from your ITM arms rifle. Your heart, which one day took a bullet from your ITM arms rifle. Has a pain in your system. When your trigger finger itched, bourbon and benzodiazepine in your system. So much beauty lost that day. You were the dog that ate the birthday You were the dog that ate the birthday cake. Icing candles and all. Icing candles and all. Star painted silver. And a star and a hat painted silver on the door. And a hat hung on the door. That time I was invited to shoot with you. That time when I was invited to shoot with you. Sadly never made it. In Hayesville, but sadly never made it. It's not good. Your last words in my mind. It's not good. Ring in my mind. It was the day before the Oscars. It was the day before the Oscars. The furthest thing from you, really. The furthest thing from you, really. And the forest. And the forest darkened deeply. Cherokee ghosts and owls. Forevermore. You forevermore singing into a bright blue gay. Thank you. This is Memoria for Kurt Cobain. I saw the ghost of Kurt Cobain 2 years before he died. I saw the ghost of Kurt Cobain at the Whiskey A Go-Go in Los Angeles, California in 1992. Hole were playing at the club. And my manager at the time insisted that we go backstage. He wanted to introduce me to Courtney Love. And we opened the door. And she was sitting on the floor, with her legs spread, a bottle of Jack Daniels stuffed into her snatch, and she had no shame. But she introduced me to Kurt, who was in the background, curled up, fetal and forlorn, fetal and forgotten, forgotten to himself, although he was trying to remember. And he waved weakly. He waved so pale and wan. And he was a baby. And he was endangered. And he was vulnerable. And he was open. And he was closed. And he had mosquitoes in his belly. And he ached, 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 and he ached. And the scratches in the vinyl were scratches in his skin, and his skin pricked with the itch for a fix, a final scarlet kiss. The music for this piece is a collaboration with Stephen Brown from Tuxedo Moon. and it's entitled Exit el hombre invisible, and it's for Joan Volmer Burroughs. On Monterey, Mexico City, the first bolt hole. Burroughs fleeing in the opposite direction to that of the trajectory of the bullet which penetrated his wife's skull. William Tell. Never played that game before. Probably won't play it again. He says in that voice as dry as desert dust. In his beat-up travel case, 2 suits, one brown, one grey, a raincoat, 3 ties, 3 shirts, 2 white, 1 black, a dog-eared copy of Celine's Journey to the End of the Night, a cutthroat razor, a deck of tarot cards, his works, the gun. The shadows of the trees in Calle Arizaba lengthen as the sun dips low in the dusk, and the statue in the plaza looks the other way forever as el hombre invisible slips by. From Mexico City to Macclesfield. This is for Ian Curtis. Down from the city, sparking his Zippo, in spite of the lorry rain. He loves her and will do forever, as those images crash in his brain on a Macclesfield Sunday. The hollow man sighs, walks with a whimper. The climate inside him has changed, holding her postcards close to his heart, closer though aching, estranged on a Macclesfield Sunday. Apocalypse Now is on at the Odeon, doe eyes nailed to the screen, images conjured to napalm the senses. Comrade meets Brando meets Sheen on a Macclesfield Sunday. Alone in the blue room with Low on the stereo, watching the lights from the cars, wearing eyeshadow and voting Conservative, spinning the spiders from Mars on a Macclesfield Sunday. In gunmetal grey of rayon and silk, dour, simple and stark, a statement of style for the modern dystopia, steel and glass over the park on a Macclesfield Sunday. Long in his overcoat, by the canal, he drifts down to Paradise Mill, where ghosts still work at garret looms. He sinks another pill on a Macclesfield Sunday. Here is where they made parachutes. Each Tommy would pack his own. He would jump without one, diving into the unknown on a Macclesfield Sunday. He will never know America, never see her lights, never walk through New York streets with liberty set in his sights on a Macclesfield Sunday. Iconic, Byronic, a man-child, a shaman on 2 packs a day, waiting for the visions of Grand Mal to come, like some Saint Joan of Arc on a stray, on a Macclesfield Sunday. Nerve endings fuse in spastic wild seizure as lads on the piss have a laugh and Nazi skins get pumped on the sea kyle. The plugs have been pulled from the bath on a Macclesfield Sunday. Scared of holding his baby, lest the demons inside crack her skull. The pint glass is always half empty, as nothing is ever half full on a Macclesfield Sunday. Two sides to every suicide, the florid and the austere, the Janus complex drowning the mask with Valium and Boddington's beer on a Macclesfield Sunday. Meeting him in the back cave, eyes of a martyred saint, tortured and haunted behind his warm words, not far from the shadows that taint on a Macclesfield Sunday. Always touching from a distance, amphetamine tweaking his heart, bringing him closer to Brussels planquet, and love will tear us apart on a Macclesfield Sunday. From Macclesfield to Memphis. Ghosts of cotton pickers moaning low on a fragrant breeze that mingles with the thick stench of cooking fat, clinging grease from 1,000 low-rent grills and diners. Street musicians howling on the corner of Handy Park, as they did in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, even in the 70s and 80s when the wrecking ball moved in. Gob iron and green bullet, class like a precious thing. And French kiss for tips, and for the hell of it, as if in prayer. More ghosts crowding in. Robert Johnson, young and handsome, brilliant and doomed. Furry Lewis, Memphis Slim, Memphis Willie B, Son House, Sleepy John Estes, Blind Blake, Sonny Boy Williamson. Oh, ghosts now, crowding in. Hard toil and sweet salvation, wood and steel and sweat, a sawn-off bottleneck for a slide, a guitar made from a cigar box, chicken wire and nails. This music needed like food and drink, sustenance for souls beaten down and bleeding. Warm southern nights of old times, jazz spilling out, mixed with profanity and laughter from the holy bars on Beale. Card sharps, quick as lizards, making their killing play. Bruised angel whores, presided over by bare men in razor-sharp attire. Cops turning a blind eye, unless it was election time. Pee-wee Saloon, where everything happened nightly. Where W.C. Handy invented sheet music and the craps game never died. Gone. Oh, gone now. And you have to look hard beyond the new neon to see the thing it once was. But something of that soul remains. That flame was a fierce and burning, blazing light. That flame was a fierce and blazing light. sky. Still you look at me and change. But do you still have that white horse running through your veins? How tight is that tourniquet? How clean is your blood? Did you really take the cure? Is your Jones gone for good? Feel like Robert Johnson in the 3 Fox Saloon. I can't shake your head, child, so we'll light another coffin nail. Go down to the crossroads with a hellhound on my trail. All the lamps are broken from dancing in the dark, trying to warm my fingers over a mercurial spark. And I feel like Robert Johnson in the 3 Fox Saloon. Yeah, I feel like Robert Johnson in the 3 Fox Saloon. Put a knife under my bed, to cut the pain in half. All the way, 'cause I need some gravel on my path. Should I take the poison and be summoned by Hades' call? Who will be left to carry me? The weight of the pole now. Who will shine my brass plate? Who will heave and haul when my soulmate has forsaken me? Who will catch me when I fall? Now I feel like Robert Johnson in the 3 Fox Saloon. Yeah, I feel like Robert Johnson in the 3 Fox Saloon. Well, I feel like Robert Johnson. Thank you. This next one is a co-write with Paul Statham, great songwriter. And it's based on a short story of Sam Shepard's in a book called Motel Chronicles. I'd be surprised if they don't not have it on those shelves out there. I'd be very surprised. Anyway, I love Sam Shepard. That's the story. It's called The Stars Standing. They blew through town, kicked up the dust. Now they're rolling on. Now the thrill is gone. So the rapper come down. No more movie stars, just tumbleweeds and stumble bums. Lonely bars. She looks very like her in the right light. But now that light is leaving town. so very like her in the red light. But now that light is leaving town. White wine and Valium to get her through. Magic hour is over. That much is true. She let the best part ball her, 'cause she couldn't stand her plight. Returning to the humdrum, no more day for night. She looks so very like her in the red light. But now that light is leaving town. She looks so very like her in the red light. But now that light is leaving town. The killing stillness, once more a sleepy town, location for the illness that causes dreams to drown. She looks so very like her in the red light. But now that light's leaving town. She looks so very like her in the red light. But now that light is leaving town. She looks so very like her in the red light. But now that light is leaving town. Thank you. It's a very creaky stage here. It's even more creaky than me. That's saying something. All right. So you've probably gathered now from all the readings and other items of evidence that I tend to lean towards the elegiac kind of melancholic reverie in I don't know, eulogy. This is no exception, this next song, to all of that, in that it is called The Day That David Bowie Died, and it was written on that day. Thank you, and recorded the next day. So it's one of those. Here we go. Closing bar. I flick my fag into the gutter. We flared and sparked like a shooting star. several floors above the club. We first heard the saddest disco, traded dreams for a ticket stub. The girls that haunted Hammersmith are banished. Ziggy has retired now for good. Now in pristine isolation, you see the ending is told in old drunk blood. Where were you the day David Bowie died? Where were you the day David Bowie died? Freezing my ass off on the corner in a far-flung northern town, not shy of rain, smoking gitans and drinking whiskey with a beautiful local girl by Cyril Vane. Me and Mr. Jones, we go way back to those adolescent seas that bloomed into a flame of life, seeds of blooms and flames, fulfilling needs, all fulfilling needs. Ziggy play guitar, and Ronald play guitar. Sugar Plum Fairy came and hit the street, looking for soul food and a place to eat. Went to the upper look, should have seen it. Go, 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 and say, hey sugar, take a walk on the wild side. Hey babe, take a walk on the wild side. In the dark, I heard his album, the new one, just like the very first. Now in pristine, hard-ripped retrospection, it all makes sense, the sensation of a raging thirst. Oh, where were you the day David Bowie died? David Bowie died. Where were you the day David Bowie died? Where were you? I'm sure you can all remember where you were. Okay. This is entitled The Rape of the Rose Garden. Oh, Jackie Kennedy, she planted those crabapple trees. In the rose garden then came the winter of '63. First Lady Ellen, she sowed the seeds at 1600 Pennsylvania, but now the earth it bleeds. And the magnolia in the west wing has a melancholy cause. The Tom Thumb roses somehow knew they would never last. And democracy is fading fast. Those Civil War horseshoes are turned upside down. And the green man, Canunas, he wears a beleaguered frown. The heliotropes and lavender and borders of lapis blue have gone the way of vanquished weeds since the country was made anew. But not better. The magnolia in the west wing has a melancholy cause. Those Tom Thumb roses somehow knew they would never last. Beyond the colonnade by the Oval Office door, the ghosts of dead presidents are fleeing to the shining shore. The Flagstaff Terrace, it shivers in the wind as the promise of a new dawn is destined to rescind. And democracy is fading fast. Jackie Kennedy, she planted those crabapple trees. In the rose garden then came the winter of '63. And now what follows is even of a darker hue. So do not ask what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Your country. Look at your country. Is this your country? Where is your country? What is your country? Where is your country? Your country. Ice too cold to thaw. Good one for today. History repeating, deja vu, and we know how this one ends. Sad but true, in bondage and oppression of the many by the few. History repeating, deja vu. It's a well-worn path on fallow land where no good seed can grow, where sage advice on death is falls and where the ill winds blow. Up ahead a roadblock, flashlights in your face, and if you show resistance then it's mace. Stop me if you live this one before. It's when the goons are at your door. Stop me if you've lived this one before. It's when you cannot take anymore. It's when they come to take you at midnight from your home, 'cause your papers aren't in order and the feds attach your phone. Here comes the clamp down, tear gas in the street. Here come the brutal billy clubs to tenderize the meat. A mother and her babies cruelly ripped apart and carted off to God knows where. It's enough to still your heart. And all in the name of order, order and the law. But the flag that waves above the blood is one that we abhor. So stop me if you live this one before. It's when the goons are at your door. Stop me if you've lived this one before. It's when you cannot take anymore. Stop me if you've lived this one before. It's when the goons are at your door. Stop me if you've lived this one before. It's when you cannot take anymore. Cold to thaw. Ice, too cold to thaw. Ice, too cold to thaw. Ice, too cold to thaw.
David J. Haskins. Hi, I'm Douglas Rushkoff. I write about stuff. Thanks. I mean, I prepared all this stuff. And I'm honored that we're friends in real life, and we've met as friends, right? And after something like this, I'm back in like total fanboy mode, right? And okay with it. No, not in sycophantic fanboy mode. In more, I'm aware that for close to 40 years, maybe more even at this point, you've been both mapping and protecting a certain noir sensibility, a noir, I wouldn't call it an aesthetic even, a noir consciousness through music. And now, and we all were here for this so-called spoken word part of the event. It's not just spoken word, what's happening there. Something else is happening in the part of what we're calling spoken word. So I want to start with this book that I've spent a bunch of time with and everyone should have. Rhapsody, Threnody, and Prayer. So Rhapsody to the embodied and the erotic. Threnody, for people who don't know the word, is like a mourning and a calling out. That's the Bowie and the Cobain and the Ian Curtis. And then, surprisingly, Prayer at the end, which is the Solomonic call to the divine, which you would think would start at the beginning, but here it's at the end. I'm interested in that triptych structure, and how using a triptych of Rhapsody, Threnody, and Prayer perhaps is able to contain or summon something that flat words would not.
Yeah, well, that structure was really imposed on pre-existing poems. It wasn't as if I came up with the concept of, that trilogy, triptych, whatever. Those poems existed, and I was just trying to think of a way of kind of corralling them into some kind of structure. And I looked at them. I mean, you have to understand, these poems were written over a great span of years. I mean, from actually, I think the earliest one is probably 1977. up until last year. And I thought, how do I present these? You know, do I do it chronologically? No. Is there any theme there? And this is quite often a process that I apply to my albums, in that I have a propensity to somehow come up with accidental concept albums. And that is because I don't set out with a concept. I've very rarely done that. I've done it a couple of times, but it's rare. I will just write songs that spill out of me from my... I write about what's most urgent, you know. It just bubbles up, and I'm sort of seized by the compulsion to write about what's going on in my little world. And then when I've got a bunch of these songs, I will take a step back and look at them and see, oh, there's a theme going on here, and then the consciousness comes in, and I think, well, I could continue this. So it only comes into play after the effect to a degree. And the same applies to this book. And so I was looking at them thinking, can I organize these in some fashion? And it was glaringly apparent to me that a lot of them are songs that would fit under the title of Threnody, in that they are songs of lamentation, and they're eulogies and elegies, and it's a way that I've always processed death, whether it's personal friends or people I've admired or have made an impact on my life. It's the way, I deal with that, is to write a song. And it's quite effective, it's quite therapeutic, and it's cathartic. And I think the great thing about songs like that is that the audience shares in that catharsis. And there's so many songs, you know, that I've turned to in those times, written by other artists, and they help so much, you know. Anyway, right. So it's just a matter of organizing it. So the Threnody part was easy, and it's the thickest section of the book, of course. And then there were a few that didn't fit into that, outliers, and I thought, well, what are these saying? And they're celebratory. I mean, there's a lot that is celebratory, and I've always celebrated things that I love and I'm curious about. So that was the other section. Then the final section, prayer. These are specific songs written from a very painful place. And they are written about my stepson, who has some mental issues. He's a brilliant guy, but he has his demons. And I and his mother and his stepbrother went through a lot with him, trying to help him. And the prayers are for him.
It's interesting, you used the word songs when talking about them, not poems, when you just had these of the prayers. And it interests me how you're a bass player. I mean, you carried us with, you have been the rhythm section of a few decades of music that carried us through. I mean, I know this happens simultaneously, but when you have to put down the bass, do you find another way of creating rhythm with just the language?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, I'll start writing the first couple of lines, really not thinking about it, but it's very instinctive. And then I'll look at it and I'll see that it has a rhythm. And then I just continue that rhythm. It's a very discernible rhythm, you know. And it's very important for the propulsion of the poem. So it's a very musical thing. Yeah.
Because the other thing you do, I mean, particularly in Tonight and the Kenneth Anger, is there's a very photographic or filmic quality. It seems to be very conscious.
Well, I just thought that was very apropos for him, you know. And it's just it's a device.
Yeah, but just a device. I mean, I found other places where you use sort of the cinematic quality.
Yeah. Sure. I have that kind of mind, and I've written some screenplays. Nothing that's got up there yet. It's hard getting it up there. It's getting harder and harder. But I've written some, co-written them, and I was actually in the midst of writing a couple of screenplays when I was writing my memoir, Who Killed Mr. Moonlight, and without really consciously deciding to do it, I noticed that the way I was seeing those past memories was in a very cinematic way. I started to imagine those memories as scenes in a movie. And it really helped, you know, and then I sort of carried that on, and I think it makes it quite vivid for the reader.
There's also a way that you create dimensionality in your work. I mean, for me, the moment that I felt like the audience here got the most was when you're inside the Bowie song, and then there's the tribute to Lou Reed inside it. That it kind of creates this, I don't know if you felt, it creates this portal of like, and then we think about Bowie's relationship to Reed, and that's when Threnody comes alive, that we're each mourning for this other thing, and it's a unifying, it's not memory or haunted sadness, ghosts. It's life coming through those Threnody ghosts. But do you find, it's like, are you consciously trying to like dimensionalize stuff, to take sort of flat media and figure out ways to?
Really, I mean, the first time I did that was just really spontaneous. I was just doing a gig, and it actually occurred to me that this rhythm that I'm playing and these chords are like Walk on the Wild Side. So I had this like little spark moment. It was actually it was a living room show, and oh yeah, and I just did it, very spontaneous. I thought, I'm keeping that in.
Right.
So just, yeah, very.
Well, those are the way things come. I mean, when we did the Genesis Peorage tribute, you brought one of those there are these little scanner radios that can sort of pick up voices of the dead, or something. Which?
Frank's box.
Right. And you played with one of those. It does make me feel like you're conscious of the potential of channeling, that there's other.
Intensely.
And you consider it real channeling, that they're here.
Yes. Something is coming through you. You are a conduit for something, some energy, some force. And blessed and cursed in the fact that you are that receptive. All artists have it, I think, to a lesser and greater degree. Yeah.
And in Rhapsody, it seems like one of the, or if not the only way for most of us to access that is through the flesh. You know, it's funny, when I read Peep Show, which you read tonight,
I didn't read it tonight.
Oh, you didn't? You were supposed to.
Sorry?
You were supposed to. It was on my list of, well, you should have read it tonight. So Peep
Next
Show,
time.
It's a show about, it's a poem about what I guess must have been late 70s, early 80s, because those things didn't exist very long after that. With those little windows.
It was 1996.
Really?
No, 94. San Francisco, the Lusty Lady, which was a fine establishment run exclusively by women, I might add. Yes. I was there recording with Love and Rockets. We were in town for like 5 weeks. And, you know, one's eye tends to stray.
I imagined you reading it tonight. Because it was such...
Really? No, it's too long. Oh, come on. Yeah, it's
No, you have to buy it.
Yeah, right. No, okay. This is a lead-in. So this book, it's done quite well. It's sold at the second edition, just sold out. But this is like, yeah, thank you. But it's like, you know, pros and cons, because as a consequence of that, we don't have any books here. We were trying to get the third edition done in time, and also I noticed that there was a printing error. So it delayed the printing they've just been done, so they're not here. But then I thought, what can I do with this thing? So what I am going to do is, there's a code over at the desk there, so if you can actually buy the book. It's not even a pre-order because they exist. It'll be like, it's like you can get it really quick. And I'm going to tear out a page from this, my personal book, personally annotated with like pen. You'll have my notes inside this thing. For the first few who buy the book, they'll get a page and I'll sign it. So that'll be an extra little memoir, a memento of the occasion.
Yeah, I have so many other questions. I
sidestepped that, request to read that poem quite well there. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, I want to also, there's room and time for people to ask questions. Are they standing a mic? How are you doing? How are we doing that? It's yawned. Okay,
Yes.
So people who want to ask David anything over these next 11, 12 minutes we have together can come over there. Until then, you made very explicit the transition from the UK to Memphis, which, and as you were
from Macclesfield
tonight,
to Memphis.
from Macclesfield to Memphis, So in Macclesfield, we were with Ian Curtis in this kind of grayscale world of rain and silence. Then in Elegy for Beale Street, we're in the vortex of Memphis with the dead stars of the blues. So you've spent your life in some ways as a nomad now in LA between the UK and the US. Does the strange state of the world look different from Macclesfield than from Memphis? And is there some common rhythm of the rails that connects the sort of post-punk gray of England to the haunted heat of the Delta?
Yeah, somehow, yes. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a stretch, and it is a stretch, but there's some sort of essence there. The essence in it is that both those locales produced music that was authentic. And it's the authenticity of the music writing about your situation. It's not so much one place doesn't resonate with the other. I mean, they're so different.
How about All the Way to Memphis by Martha Hoople?
Yeah. Well, it's pure romanticism. I really relate. I love that record, and I got it when it came out, and that is in England, and especially at that time when that was written, England was very grey and dismal and rainy and bleak, and it's just the appeal of what we imagined America to be through rock and roll and through movies and all of that. It's just pure romanticism, but I think the great thing about Ian Curtis is that with that, he's a total romantic, but he skewers that romanticism with absolute, so the mundane and just like the really basic reality of life. And he's very, very aware of that dichotomy, Yeah.
We should take the first question, sir.
First question.
Yeah.
Good evening. So a question on my mind since 1987. I've had a question on my mind for you for a gig I went to in Claremont College in Southern California, and Love and Rockets and Jane's Addiction opened for you. And before their first album came out, they're still a club band in LA doing Whiskey Go-Go and whatnot. And you came out on stage for their opening set and played bass for them. And it was, in my speculation, it was a gift you were given to them to show everybody, hey, they're legit, show them some respect. But from that day on to now, I always wondered what was in your mindset when you were giving this gift to this Jane's Addiction band of you coming on stage and helping them introduce them to the world at that time. I thought it was very interesting, and
Well, we were always very hands-on with the choice of a support band. you know, we were very involved in that and very discerning. And, you know, that was our choice for them. The record label and different agents would present ideas to us and send us tapes, you know, back then. And if there was a clip of them playing live, whatever, to check them out. Sometimes we'd actually go to a gig and see what they were like. But we're very hands-on, and we felt that was very important because it had to vibe with us, and we just had to like the band. And also we were into giving great bands that are starting out a helping hand. It's like giving back, you know, like the punk. That comes from the punk times. But
it stood out that you came on stage for one song with them. I remember
we did that. We did that a few times, and they would come on with us sometimes, like playing a song.
It was delightful. It was delightful. So.
What's that?
It was delightful.
Oh, good. I agree. Yeah. So just don't talk about the latest incarnation of that coupling. Very different scenario. Although we were still very pally. Just a very strange time, that last tour.
Sir.
Aye, so reason I'm here is because of Bauhaus. Yep, right. Massive fan back in the day, and seen you a couple of times early 80s back in Edinburgh. Real quick, how's your brother doing? What's Danny Ash up to? And Mr. Murphy, what are these guys up to?
That's rather a lot.
Well, how's your brother doing then?
Was it in Edinburgh? Was that Toots Wawa House?
No, it was the first gig I went. It was 81. It was in the nightclub.
Okay.
The second one was a place called Coasters. So yeah.
Vague bell tinkles through the mist.
And I try to see Murphy over here, but it's whatever shit the bed with that one, right? Didn't he? So. Anyway, how's everybody doing? You still in touch? Everybody still hang out or talk or anything? Or?
No, we don't really hang out that much. We never used to hang out like outside of being on the road, really.
Oh, okay.
Even me and my brother.
Oh, that's mental.
No, it's how it is.
No, that's fine. I don't want to take anybody else's time. So, cheers, man.
All right.
Hi, I am
Hello.
a card-carrying sycophantic fan. So as a Bauhaus and Love and Rockets fan, that set was amazing, and thank you.
Thank you.
I know you're here as an artist, not as an activist, but I think we're all very aware that arts funding is being cut hugely right now. And it's maybe not a coincidence in our current political climate. I'm curious, even though you're somebody who has had a hugely successful music career, what do you think average citizens can do to kind of help people understand why the arts are so desperately needed right now, and that why funding needs to be poured in now more than ever? Do you have anything to share with us on that? And again, I know you're here as a musician, not as an activist, but there's clearly some passion in what you were just singing about.
Yeah. Well,
just a small question.
The unfortunate,
just a lighthearted, small question.
The unfortunate thing is that the ones that get it aren't the ones in power, you know, and how to make inroads into that power structure. I really don't know, apart from, it's kind of preaching to the choir, I know.
Yeah.
But I think that when the choir connects, when all those voices connect, you know, it makes a much louder voice, and that's all we have. And we just have to join together in a great big choir and sing, you know, as loud as we can, and keep singing, and keep going forward. You know.
Do you think it's just as simple as like keep kids playing music no matter what? Like just keep it going?
I think that's obviously really important. Yeah. I did a charity event quite recently in LA, and the charity was to fund kids music, to buy guitars basically and instruments for kids in schools, and I'm all for that kind of thing, you know. So it's kind of grassroots, you know, on that level, and then, you know, the more people that do that, then the more universal it becomes. That's all we can do. And just like help your neighbor, you know.
Thank
great.
you.
Yeah.
You know, Brian Eno just published a really short book called What is Art For? Which is good for 5th grade and up can read that, or through grad school. And it's a great justification for art that subtly suggests that art is kind of intrinsically anti-fascist, because it helps us imagine alternative universes.
Love that
Yeah,
recommendation.
it's a nice reference. Anyway.
Yep.
Anne.
As part of VersoFest 26, this has been an amazing conversation and performance, and I thank you both for sharing the stage with all of us. Can we have another round of applause, please? And I'd like to give a little plug to support your artists that are on stage. As David has already told you how to get his book, we also have 2 of Douglas's for sale right around the corner. So please come buy a book and enjoy the rest of VersoFest. We hope to see you tomorrow too.
Thank you.